Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating, frankly absolutely critical system that keeps modern travel safe. We're talking about the NATO phonetic alphabet. Now, this isn't just some random list of words you hear in movies. It is literally aviation's vital language. If you've ever found yourself sitting at the gate, wondering exactly how the complex, crazy, high-speed world of global flight stays so perfectly organized, well, we're going to uncover exactly how it works.
So think about it for a quick second. What is the single most important part of aviation? If you had to guess, what would you say? Maybe, I don't know, the incredible engineering of those massive jet engines? The advanced radar systems? Or maybe incredibly precise weather forecasting? And yet, while all of those are obviously absolutely crucial, the real answer points in a completely different direction.
And here it is, communication. It really stands as the paramount element in all of aviation. But what's super interesting is the core reason why. The primary purpose of this communication is to increase safety and drastically reduce preventable accidents. It acts like this giant, invisible safety net, making sure that everyone involved in a flight stays secure before things can even begin to go wrong.
So who exactly makes up this communication network? Well, it's a massive, incredibly complex ecosystem. You've got pilots up in the cockpit, cabin crew interacting directly with the passengers, air traffic controllers sitting miles and miles away in a tower, and ground staff managing the aircraft down on the tarmac. For the whole shebang to actually work, these distinct groups of professionals must act as one perfectly coordinated team. They have to communicate clearly and correctly 100% of the time. There is literally zero room for guesswork.
And why is there no room for guesswork? Because a tiny, almost unnoticeable misunderstanding can cause incredibly serious problems. The stakes in this industry are, quite literally, life or death. We aren't talking about a typo in an email where you accidentally schedule a meeting for the wrong hour. No way. In aviation, a tiny error over a radio transmission, like just one misheard word, can lead to a disastrous outcome. The margin for error is effectively zero.
But when communication is totally dialed in, it actively fights against those dangers. It completely transforms the safety and efficiency of flight operations. Professionals can improve safety, avoid misunderstandings, reduce human errors, and ultimately prevent accidents. It allows them to give crystal clear instructions and just work better as a unified team. And this isn't just theory. These are the absolute daily operational goals of every single person working in the industry today.
To really get how they achieve this, just imagine the reality of human speech for a second. Picture people from all over the world, with completely different native languages and wildly varying accents, all trying to work together over a crackly, noisy radio. It's a recipe for spelling mistakes, pronunciation confusion, and critical errors. What we actually need are messages that are clear, accurate, and exact. So how do we bridge the gap between that chaotic problem and this necessary solution?
Well, that brings us to the ultimate solution, the NATO phonetic alphabet. This is the standard communication system used throughout aviation to ensure people from different countries and languages understand the exact message clearly. It is the great equalizer in the skies. It completely removes the ambiguity of tricky accents and pronunciation. Instead of just saying a letter, which could honestly sound like any other letter over a bad connection, aviation professionals use this very specific, standardized system.
Okay, let's look at the first part of the alphabet and really notice the distinct choices here. A is Alpha, B is Bravo, C is Charlie, D is Delta, E is Echo, F is Foxtrot, G is Golf, H is Hotel, I is India. By using these specific words, a pilot doesn't just say the letter B, which, let's be real, could easily be mistaken for C or D or E through radio static. Instead, they say Bravo. There is absolutely no mistaking Bravo for Delta.
Moving right through the middle section, listen to how incredibly distinct each word is. J is Juliet, K is Kilo, L is Lima, M is Mike, N is November, O is Oscar, P is Papa, Q is Quebec, R is Romeo. You can almost feel the clear, steady cadence required to speak this way. And remember, this is a global standard. An air traffic controller sitting in Tokyo and a pilot flying out of Brazil are going to use these exact same terms, November, Oscar, Papa, ensuring absolute clarity regardless of their native tongues. And rounding out the rest of the alphabet, we have S for Sierra, T for Tango, U for Uniform, V for Victor, W for Whiskey, X for X-ray, Y for Yankee, Z for Zulu. And there it is. That is the complete toolbox that aviation staff around the world use to act professionally and, most importantly, safely. Every single letter has a robust, unmistakable word attached to it.
Now, it's one thing to just hear a list of words, right? But it's a whole different thing to see how it actively prevents confusion out in the real world. Imagine a super simple phrase being transmitted. Fly high. If you just said those words over a fuzzy, static-filled radio frequency, they could so easily get garbled. So how would a professional actually transmit this?
Well, here is the exact step-by-step breakdown. Let's take the word FLY. F becomes Foxtrot, L becomes Lima, and Y becomes Yankee. So FLY is Foxtrot, Lima, Yankee. Then for the word high, H becomes hotel, I is India, G is golf, and H is hotel again. High is hotel, India, golf, hotel. Put it all together, and the exact phonetic spelling is Foxtrot, Lima, Yankee, Hotel, India, Golf, Hotel. By taking the extra second to speak this way, they completely, absolutely eliminate any chance of miscommunication.
So why go through all the trouble of saying Foxtrot, Lima, Yankee instead of just simply saying fly? Because honestly, it fundamentally works. It drastically reduces mistakes, it improves understanding, and it keeps aviation incredibly safe. It empowers aviation staff to communicate with a level of precision that actively solves those really high-stakes, life-or-death problems we discussed right at the beginning.
At the end of the day, it all really comes down to one simple, undeniable truth. In aviation, clear communication saves lives. The NATO phonetic alphabet isn't just some quirky list of words or a fun bit of trivia. It is a literal, life-saving tool. It's kind of like the invisible thread that holds the entire safety net of our skies together.
So the next time you settle into your seat for a flight, maybe look out the window at the ground staff and just think about the pilots up in the cabin and the air traffic controllers miles and miles away. They are all currently speaking this vital language. Will you be listening closely for the Alphas, the Bravos, and the Charlies keeping you safe? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this completely changes the way you think about communication up in the skies.